Subscribe to WROK on YouTube and never miss a meeting.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the June 26, 2023 Royal Oak City Commission meeting to order. We're going to begin with a short invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask that you stand if you can, please. We gather here tonight to serve our beloved community. Let us be reminded of how fortunate we are to live in a safe, vibrant, and welcoming city. We ask for the strength, wisdom, and fortitude to help keep our community moving forward. We ask for the safe return of all people who served our city, both in uniform and not. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that brings us to item 4, which is the approval of the agenda.
I'll move approval.
We have a motion by Commissioner Macy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dupuck. Discussions on the agenda. All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. All right, already moving on to number 5, public comment. A few things before we begin with public comment. The City Commission values and relies on the input of our fellow citizens to help make decisions. Now is the time set aside for the public to address the City Commission on any city-related issues, whether it be on the agenda or not. I ask that comments be directed to the City Commission as a whole and not to individual commissioners. If you wish to speak tonight at public comment, please wait until recognized by me, Mayor Fournier, and then come to the podium. For the record, you will state your name and address. Please be mindful the City Commission wants to hear from anyone who wishes to speak tonight, so comments are limited to 3 minutes or less per speaker, not per topic. There's a timer at the podium to help you keep track of your time. If you don't wish to speak tonight, no problem. Don't hesitate to reach out to us via email or call any of the City Commissioners with your comments. Please note that the City Commission typically doesn't respond directly to questions during public comment. However, we are taking notes, and we will address those questions when the agenda topic is discussed, or if your question is not related to anything on tonight's agenda, we refer it to the proper city department. If the matter isn't scheduled on the agenda, we do that. And our city manager is also taking notes here and looks into matters as appropriate. And we always encourage you that if you come to public comment and you have something that's not on the agenda, question, email the city commissioner or city manager afterward, so we have a way to get back to you after your question's been asked. If it's not a rhetorical question, if it's a question of curiosity. All right, with that, who's first?
Aww.
I'm going to go with Mr. Callahan in the back, straight from Las Vegas.
Empty pockets. On a regular basis. Like every Thursday. Matt Callahan, Las Vegas, Nevada, formerly of Royal Oak. I just wanted to come here. I don't get here very often to Michigan, but I just happen to be here today, and you're here. A lot of the projects that I worked on way back in the last 3-4 years ago have all been coming to fruition, and I really appreciate that you're following through on a lot of the traffic safety and pedestrian safety issues that are that I see getting built, and I do not want to object to any of the engineering department's items on the agenda this evening. So that's all I wanted to say. It looks really good out there, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Callahan. It's good to see you.
Any questions?
Yes. How do you stay eternally young? He hasn't aged at all. Do you? Some sort of vampire serum out there in Las Vegas?
There's a lot of sunshine. A lot of sunshine. It's been really good so far. So I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. Who's next? Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. Bill Harrison, 2729 Trafford. Regarding the second reading of the marijuana ordinance, the distance between a marijuana establishment from any school, existing retailer, or micro business previously limited to 1,000 feet will now be at the discretion of the commission. The ordinance change sets a dangerous precedent for the location of future marijuana facilities that will be approved at the direction of this or future commissions. Allowing marijuana facilities to be located less than 1,000 feet from each other is just inviting an adverse impact on adjacent neighborhoods. The 1,000-foot buffer from a K-12 school also protects the entire downtown area from having a marijuana facility. As a downtown property owner, I do not want pot dispensaries downtown in addition to the bars. I suspect that the initial intent of the ordinance change is that it will allow a marijuana sales and smoking tent for Arts, Beats, and Eats. ABE is only a one-week event that does not occur when school is in session. It seems that the ordinance could be amended to allow a 1,000-foot buffer to be compromised for a temporary event that occurs only when school is not in session. However, the ordinance states that no consumption of marijuana shall take place on the premises of a marijuana establishment. So I don't know how you're going to do this marijuana tent and have sales and consumption. Additionally, does the House of Dank have a license for a marijuana facility in Royal Oak? The ordinance provisions regarding license transferability pertain only to Royal Oak licenses. Two of the paragraphs state no municipal license issued under the ordinance is transferable to any other location except for the municipality licensed premises on the municipality licensed property. And second, a municipal license holder may not engage in any other marijuana establishment in the municipality licensed property or its name or any other location within the city without first obtaining a separate municipal license. So I question you, how are you going to pull this off? Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Harrison. All right, who's next? I see a hand in the back.
Good evening. I'm Trish Oliver. I'm a Royal Oak resident. As a parent, I'm very concerned about the imminent approval of the proposed amendments to the recreational marijuana licensing ordinance without adequate notice to parents. The city doesn't have any letters from the Royal Oak Public Schools superintendent or from the Oakland Schools superintendent, which would completely change their prior positions to now recommend approval of the proposed amendments, which would allow the commission to approve marijuana retail stores near any Royal Oak K-12 school at its discretion. Specifically, proposed amendment section 4.5C. Previously, those superintendents sent emailed notices to parents to notify them to attend city commission meetings on this controversial subject. The scheduling of this issue on the agenda after schools have been let out for the summer appears to be a tactic to avoid input from superintendents or parents whose children attend Royal Oak schools and who will be negatively affected by this amendment. For this reason, and before voting on this amendment tonight, the commission should hold a public hearing and send a notice to every parent and also obtain a letter from each superintendent allowing marijuana sales next to any school in the city. Thank you.
Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? All right, we're going to close public comment and bring the meeting back to this side of the table, which brings us to item 6, which is the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull anything off the consent agenda this evening? Nobody wishes to pull anything off the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to make a motion for the consent agenda as presented in the agenda? We have a motion by Commissioner Macy. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Dubak. discussion on the consent agenda? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. All right, that brings us to item 7, both the first and last agenda item on tonight's regular agenda. Approval of recreational marijuana ordinance amendments, second reading. Mr. Brake, you signed the letter here. I'm going to hand it over to you, sir.
Oh, absolutely. So, good evening, Mayor and members of the City Commission. So what's presented to you this evening is the second reading of the ordinance. This includes adding a provision for a second 6-month extension of a municipal license. So this pertains to a retail establishment. The licenses were originally awarded in April of last year. City clerk has the ability to award a 6-month extension, and which takes us to October of this year. And if it becomes necessary, that those businesses that they can ask for an additional 6-month extension. So the way that the license works is that it's not granted from the state of Michigan until the business is opened. So until such time, they're without a license. In order to grant this extension, we include a renewal of a second fee that's associated with that, so that they pay what they paid previously. So it also includes additional clarification information that accompanies with the fee. As it pertains to the zoning ordinance and conferring discretion, it gives the City Commission that ability to reduce the amount of feet on a case-by-case basis. So it does not mean it's an automatic, and it gives you the ability to review what the specifics are, what the days are that those type of activities are held, and judge that accordingly. So it does designate the definition of a designated consumption establishment to be consistent with the ordinance, and information that was sought out by the state of Michigan, and gives the ability, again, that discretion on what days and how far, if it is in relation to a school. The only thing that has changed, you will note there was one word that was omitted, so there's a red line addition that's included in that. It did not make any material change to the language, but just something to be advised that we caught that needed to be included in there, and so you'll see that on attachment 1. It's on the looks like it's 3 pages in where that word is noted. But
Deviation from.
So, correct. And with that, I'll defer to the city attorney to make sure that I didn't overlook anything or omitted any description.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I think what's key in the second part of this amendment with regard to the language regarding the zoning ordinance 1,000-foot distance requirement is that's already contained in the zoning ordinance, so you're basically amending the licensing ordinance to bring it into the same parameters as the zoning ordinance already gives you the authority to consider certain deviations from the separation distances, as long as you determine, the various factors at play, safety, noxious odors, etc. So really, you're just bringing the licensing ordinance on board to what the zoning ordinance already says. So other than that, I think Mr. Brake covered all the relevant changes for your consideration at second reading tonight.
Commissioner Dubuck.
No, go ahead.
Thanks. I think that's a thorough explanation. I think it's worth restating. City Commission currently already has the authority to place a license within 1,000 feet.
Under the zoning ordinance, correct.
That authority already exists. We're just now codifying that really in our law, saying that it can be within, based on the recommendation of staff having analyzed the licenses. So there's no new power being created here?
You're just simply adding that to the licensing ordinance, which didn't quite mesh with the zoning ordinance, so you're bringing the licensing ordinance to comply with the already existing zoning ordinance, which already grants you that authority.
Okay. And just for clarity, there seems to be some confusion about the difference between a licensed establishment and a special event. My understanding is special event is a designation under the state law that was adopted by the overwhelming majority of Michiganders and the overwhelming majority of Royal Oakers. And then we wrote an ordinance that also has the ability for a special event permit. Is that accurate?
Correct, and I think, the clarity is you have permanent brick and mortar establishments that you consider through the licensing and zoning ordinance, and then you have the carve-outs for your special events that this applies to as well. This 1,000-foot deviation applies to those carve-outs. So those are limited in scope and duration and subject to your approval, obviously.
And spoken to directly in our ordinance, the special
Correct.
events. Yes. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hunt?
Thank you. Just to kind of piggyback on what Commissioner DeBuck was saying, for clarity, in the event a proposed license comes before the commission for approval, that would be the opportunity for public input at a hearing for the schools to be able to provide some sort of feedback or their understanding or points that they want to make as it relates to the licenses. Is that correct?
That's my understanding. Your ordinances provide for, in your review process, to bring these to the public light. So there's full transparency and you can examine all the concerns that either the public or schools or other organizations may have to address those concerns with regard to any separation distances or any other requirements the commission may require under the under your ordinances.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I mean, it seems pretty clear that we got two parts here. The simpler part is really just getting the zoning and licensing ordinance to have parity with each other. Or not even parity, but to at least to avoid any confusion, because those rights were always been granted in the zoning ordinance. And that since there's no licensees in front of us at the moment. Can you hear me better now? Yes. All right. So in the event that if there is an applicant, it goes through the process where city staff looks through everything and makes a proposal to the city commission about who you want to grant a license to. That's the time when the public would be notified, hey, there is a, city staff recommends that you grant a license to this particular applicant, and, they're located 1,010 feet from a school, that's fine. Or if they're located 900 feet from a school, then they would have to get that approval from us from both the zoning and licensing, which doesn't really change from what we have today.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right. Commissioner DeBuck?
With a more than adequate explanation from staff as to the reasoning behind these modest amendments to our ordinance, I will move for approval on second reading, including the red line edits incorporated by staff in this version.
Edit.
Huh?
Edit.
Well, there's one change to the date,
sure.
too.
Yeah,
so there's technically two.
No, you're right. All right. We have a motion by Commissioner DeBuck. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Macy. Discussion? All right. With none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. All righty. Feels like an early night.
You want to do more stuff?
We can do more stuff. Legos in the park.
Majority of the whole.
$1 million for everybody.
Needed four.
All right. Notwithstanding anything for the betterment of our community, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner DeBuck. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Hunt. Any lengthy discussion on this important motion? All right. With none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes.
Okay. I knew there was
We're
going to be
adjourned.
some special thing to it.
Yeah.